Sorry Shuckle fans, but Feraligatr is the best non-UU Pokemon in this metagame. It's better than several UU Pokemon. Feraligatr is one of the most underrated Pokemon in GSC UU. Despite its NUBL status, it's a very capable threat in GSC Underused. Feraligatr is very similar to the prominent Gyarados, but it has several advantages over it. Feraligatr has well-rounded stats, a good typing, and a great move pool. Feraligatr is a solid mixed attacker with useful defensive utility. Feraligatr's main advantage over Gyarados is Earthquake, one of the best offensive moves in the game. This makes Feraligatr much better against Pokemon like Lanturn and Ampharos. Feraligatr also learns Rock Slide, which deals massive damage to Scyther and solid damage to Gyarados and Pinsir. Gator's attack and special attack are both solid. Its Hydro Pump is much stronger than Gyarados' is, making it superior at pressuring Pokemon like Granbull. Feraligatr has crucial defensive utility too. It's one of the few Pokemon who can switch into Piloswine safely, and it's solid versus threats like Scyther. Feraligatr is only 2 times weak to Electric, compared to Gyarados' 4-time weakness, so in a pinch, it can tank a coverage Electric attack. Despite all this though, there's a reason Feraligatr wasn't UU in the first place. It faces competition from Blastoise and Gyarados, and it can be rather prediction reliant. I personally think Feraligatr is UU though. This thing is damn good, and it's better than several UU Pokemon. Let's analyse the big jaw Pokemon. Feraligatr has very well-rounded stats by GSC UU standards. Not a single one of its stats can be called bad. Stats don't mean everything of course, but you'll be surprised at how bulky Feraligatr is. Feraligatr is also decently fast, outspeeding the likes of Nidoqueen, Magneton, Hypno, and Lanturn. Unlike in modern generations, where Feraligatr is used as a physical attacker, it's a mixed attacker in Gen 2 UU. Feraligatr has solid attacking stats and a good move pool to take advantage of them. Hydro Pump 2 KOs the tier's ground types, Nidoqueen and Piloswine, and 3 KOs Granbull, Mr. Mime, Omastar, and Quagsire. Feraligatr's Hydro Pump is significantly stronger than the one that its main rival, Gyarados, can pump out. Another advantage Feraligatr has over Gyarados is Earthquake, which 2 KOs Lanturn, Ampharos, Quillfish, Haunter, and Electabuzz. It also OHKOs the dangerous Magneton. Earthquake makes Feraligatr far superior at threatening the electric types when compared to Gyarados. Gyarados has to use the weaker Hidden Power Ground if it wants to use a ground move, which disallows it from using Hidden Power Flying. Earthquake is made more dangerous by Screech, but I'll talk more about that move later. Rock Slide is Feraligatr's 3rd attacking move. It deals over 85% to Scyther, and 3 KOs Gyarados and Pinsir. Rock Slide also has a chance to flinch, which can be crucial. There is no Pokemon in GSC UU that resists the combination of Earthquake and Rock Slide. Feraligatr doesn't learn Sword Stance in Gen 2, but it makes up for it with Screech. Screech Feraligatr is a deadly threat with Spikes up. Screech's defense drop can let Feraligatr break through the likes of Hypno, Slowbro, Blastoise, and Slowking, who can otherwise wall it. It forces a lot of switches, and teams usually only have 1 or 2 mons that can come in on Gator. Screech Feraligatr can be surprisingly annoying for defensive teams. Feraligatr also brings defensive utility to teams. It's one of the few Pokemon who can safely switch into Piloswine and threaten it. It's also a decent switch into Nidoqueen, Quagsire, and Omastar. Feraligatr is one of the best answers to Scyther. Scyther needs to use Double Edge to 2 KO Feraligatr, and Feraligatr can retaliate with a devastating Rock Slide. Feraligatr used to run moves like Ice Beam, Roar, and Crunch, but I don't think they are worth it in today's metagame. Screech plus Quake Slide is usually better at breaking the Pokemon you would want something like Screech for. Feraligatr is only really used on offensive teams. It mandates spikes to be fully effective, and it works on offensive teams over Gyarados. You should consider what advantages Feraligatr has. Feraligatr is more offensively potent, while Gyarados is better longevity. Feraligatr has flaws that prevent it from being more common. While it does have advantages over Gyarados, Gyarados is the more common of the two because of its flying typing. This grants it an immunity to ground, making it better at checking Piloswine. Feraligatr can only come into Piloswine a few times, whereas Gyarados can come in repeatedly. Gyarados is also Spikes immune, making it harder to wear down. Gyarados learns Thunder, which makes it better at immediately threatening the likes of Slowbro. Blastoise gives Feraligatr competition as well. While Blastoise is far more passive, Rapid Spin and Superior Bulk make it the preferred water starter for bulky teams. In battle, Feraligatr can be prediction reliant, and it's not that reliable at breaking the likes of Gyarados and Rest Talk and Mr. Mime. It's also weak to common electric attacks, must run from status, and is vulnerable to being worn down. Feraligatr is a nice Pokemon, but there's still a reason it's not more common. Regardless, it's underrated and cool, and it deserves to rise from NUBL to UU. Feraligatr has had a pretty weird history in GSC UU. Before 2018, it basically didn't exist. Unlike in later gens, Feraligatr doesn't learn Sword Stance, so people probably glossed over it. Even in 2018 though, when GSC UU got more exploration, it would be generous to say Feraligatr existed. It was like a C-tier mon. It had massive 4 move slot syndrome between Crunch, Rock Slide, Roar, Ice Beam and whatnot. Nowadays you can just run Screech and Rock Slide in my opinion, but people didn't really notice back then. It's no surprise that Feraligatr ended up dropping to NU in the 2018 tiering shifts. This didn't end up lasting though. Feraligatr was very overpowered in old GSC NU, and got banned not even 2 months after being allowed. Nubia wouldn't be implemented in GSC until Raichu, Poliwrath and Golduck got banned at the end of 2019, so Feraligatr came back to UU for a few months. It was still not very good though. It was easily the worst Pokemon on that UU tier list. That would change the following year however, when people started using Feraligatr as a recipient of Sword Stance from Scyther. This was a role Feraligatr was deadly in. If Feraligatr got Sword Stance this gen, it would likely be banned from UU, so just imagine it as an SD Pass recipient. Very little can handle Feraligatr at +2 attack, let alone +4. It still wasn't a metagame defining force or anything, but it was somewhat relevant. Nowadays, Gator is mostly used as a Diet Gyarados with Earthquake. It can still be used as an SD Pass recipient, but that playstyle isn't as great anymore. GSC UU has gone in a direction that favours Feraligatr. Less Bellossom and Slow Twins, and more Piloswine and Electrics. It has clear advantages over Gyarados in today's meta, and the future looks bright for our alligator friend.